Hey guys, listen, I want to know first off, thanks for coming, but who here is an actual entrepreneur or thinking about becoming an entrepreneur? By show of hands. Awesome. I have to ask this because I was at another event yesterday, like 150 people, and still half the audience weren't entrepreneurs. I was like, oh. And it was called Entrepreneurs in London. I was like, that was interesting. And I don't, one thing I don't do is I don't presume anything. I don't know any of you people. I know of maybe one or two. Richard, how you doing? Richard came to one of my other talks. But I think for the most part, I don't know anyone else here. So I just really want to get a feel for why you guys came. So first thing I really want to ask you is, what drew you to my talk? I mean, why did you come out to see some crazy dude like me talk about where I've come from and how to have more influence? I mean, tell me what it is that drew you. Just put your hand up and, you know, shout it out if you want. Yep.
I want what you got.
Okay, what's that?
Influence.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I said to the chap next to me, my COVID kicked me out of the house and made me come here tonight to do something useful.
Okay, cool. Right, I can give you something useful to do. Awesome, man.
It's cool to hear what entrepreneurs go through because a lot of people from the outside don't see it. So it's good to hear about how you didn't quit.
Awesome. Yeah, and I had plenty of options to quit all the time. Yeah.
I don't remember what I read, but it was something that your background was quite interesting, and it seemed as though you achieved things against the odds.
Yeah.
So I thought it sounds like a good, interesting talk.
Yeah, that's me. Okay. Go back.
Yeah, I've studied a lot of different communication models. Some of them work well, some of them don't work that well.
Yeah.
And there was something about your talk which drew me, and I thought, okay, what else? What is there something new that I can learn and incorporate? You know, because there seems to be something around your communication style which seems, or what I've heard of, is very effective.
Okay, cool. So did everyone hear that? Shall I just feedback? Basically interested in communication models, yeah? And you know, so this gentleman's been to quite a few different other trainings, as he told me earlier. And yeah, apparently my style is quite interesting. And I tell you what, I am the most unconventional guy you'll meet. I mean, I don't like wearing a suit. This is about as smart as you're going to get me. If I could, you know, roll up in shorts and t-shirt, I probably would. But I thought they'd kick me out. So, yeah, a couple more questions, a couple more, you know, you just sharing why you came, and then I'll get stuck in, I think. Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, I think if you want your startup or business to really move forward, the thing I'm finding with investors, everyone that they ask is, right, I've got a good idea, who's your team, i.e. who are the people that you're involved with, and in order to get good people in, you need to be able to influence them positively.
Yes.
To try and really get them on board and drive your business forward.
Absolutely, and I'm going to talk about that because for myself, I'm only good at a few things. You know, well, that's right. So that's what people tell me. So I tend to think, well, now I realise who can I get on board to do what I can't do. Let's not pretend we're good at everything. Let's not bullshit ourselves like we try to do. We're polished, we're perfect. No, we're not. We can't do certain things. So let's find people who can do it way better than us. Stop messing around and get on with doing what we do best. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. I'll talk about that then. One more, I reckon. Yeah.
Also, it would be interesting to hear, so also as a startup, you know, you don't have, especially if you don't have a track record of successful, you know, businesses already, or you've worked in Google or whatever before, people don't always take you seriously from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how can you still make an impression on someone without actually, you know, just through your personality and just through talking to them and talking sense.
Perfect.
Without, you know, having to prove them that this are the success stories that I had.
Okay, so when you don't have a background, how do you connect with people who can potentially open doors you can never open on your own without having anything to show? Yeah, well, that's me. I've done that so many times, and I still have to kind of pinch myself and ask, how the heck did I do that? But what I want to really discuss tonight, and I'm just going to get some water, guys, because I tell you what, when you speak, it's pretty crazy. I mean, last night I could have slept for 20 hours. I swear, I was absolutely exhausted. I put a lot into this because I really care about what I do. And yeah, basically, I think what I've done throughout my life is deconstruct how I've been able to do what I did. Okay, so what I want to do is give you a very quick overview of what I do now, and then I'm going to tell you the story and the context, because I think in the context you're going to understand. Okay, this wasn't handed to me on a plate for sure. I didn't go to the best school. I got kicked out of school, so and things were really just terrible at times, and I shouldn't even be here. But basically, what I do now, I have two roles. One, I'm a trusted advisor. So I'm a trusted advisor to some CEOs and some global leaders, entrepreneurs. We've worked with a lot of politicians, just loads of different people, film director. And it's been a really, really interesting ride. And I still have to pinch myself, and I can't believe that we've had the opportunities we have. And that really what I do in that role is I'm a trusted advisor. And I'll tell you why people do that, because when you're in a certain level or position, everybody perceives you to have all the answers, yeah? Does everyone agree with me on that? People think, well, of course, you know what to do. And quite often, the pressure as an entrepreneur is just incredible, right? Anyone felt that pressure? We just want to quit, you just want to, you start feeling weird feelings, and you're like, what's wrong with my body? I feel so anxious or stressed out. And when you're a CEO of a global company, the pressure's on you even worse, because you're not the boss. Someone can axe you like that. And that's what happens. People get axed. We save a bit of money there, get rid of them. And so I'm working with people who've got immense pressure on their shoulders, and they don't want someone to fluff it up to them. They need someone who's not in their situation, who does not work for the company, who's got a different perspective, who's not going to BS them in any way, shape or form, and I'm not going to do that. And so they like that. And I understand human psychology, as you'll find out more, because I've studied it for the last 10 years. I've been like in the trenches with people, how to get people from like suicidal, crack cocaine addict, heroin addict, crystal meth addict, to live in a really prosperous life. How to get teenagers who are completely off the rails back to where they should be. How to get, relationships back together. How to take people who are feeling like they're stuck in a rut to kind of start performing at high levels. And, it's the proof is in the pudding. I couldn't have done anything I've done now because I don't have the MBA in anything, And I managed to walk onto a degree course just by basically talking my way through, as you said earlier, personality. They just said, this guy is hopeless, but he's kind of funny, let's maybe give him a shot. And that's my story. So that's part of what I do as a trusted advisor to individuals, one-on-one typically. This for me is new. I'm not the public speaking guy. I don't necessarily feel comfortable doing this, but I'll do it because I get to serve more people. And typically what we've done is I've done a lot online. So Jonathan, who runs this, if anyone knows Jonathan, I've never even met him in person yet. Like every single talk I've been invited to, every opportunity I've got is basically been through online connections. So you want to talk about influence? When you can't even shake their hand and you can connect to someone and have a deep rapport with them over Skype, which 99.9% of all my clients in New York, LA, Hong Kong, wherever, I've never met them. I talk to them on Skype. I help them on Skype most of the time. So there's something about how do you connect to people using like all the tools and things we've got right now, being the internet. And that's been my thing. So the other side of what I do, I have vision-inspired people. Vision-inspired people, basically, I've met a lot of really interesting people. Some people, if I named the companies, like some of these startups, you'd be like, wow, that's cool. I like those guys. And I thought, wow, it's unusual that I've got all these people, and I quite like sometimes just connecting people, just hearing their story, just having dinner with them or whatnot. And I thought, what if I could connect some of the most influential people in the world? Like, how cool would that be if I could say, well, you don't know that person over there, how about I introduce you? And how about I create a community where I can introduce some of the most influential people? And I thought, that's really cool. So that's what we're doing. And I'll tell you, just to kind of give you a bit of an understanding, anyone ever heard of Zig Ziglar? No? Some people? Yeah, raise your hand if you have. Awesome. So just the other day, this is an example of how we do this. Never, have nothing to do with those guys. These guys, by the way, they're like probably the number one and the first kind of trainers of leadership and stuff like that in corporates. So the Zig Ziglar company basically trained everyone from Coca-Cola right through to Apple. You name it, they've been in there and they've done it. And they've got the best record, the best integrity in the world. They're awesome. And so they've reached like 250 million people since they started. And they're pretty important. So I basically reached out to the CEO and ended up, I've interviewed him, and now I've invited him to become an advisory board member of my company. So that's where you have no connection with somebody and you use your personality and an ability to communicate in a way that really just engages people and interests them and says, hey, I've got to be a part of this. I don't know this guy, but I've got a feeling there's something in this. And we'll talk more about that. But this is not how I started out. And here's where I want to give you the context. So I'm going to take you back to... So when I was in school, it just started to go a bit pear-shaped. I wasn't your average guy. I didn't have all the skills and ability. And I had pretty bad low self-esteem. And what happened is I ended up basically getting kicked out of school because I just got into the wrong crowd, yada, yada, yada. And then I discovered, you know what, I can find people that I can connect with. So who did I connect with? I connected with drug addicts and alcoholics. And I started taking drugs and drinking a lot. And then I became one of those people. And so 17, 18, and then I was, one thing I was good at, I was quite good at boxing, and I was quite good at fighting. My grandfather was a champion boxer. At 15, I used to spar with the British featherweight champion boxer for featherweight division, and I was basically his punch bag because I was a big guy. And I thought, what? I found out about this thing, this crazy thing, called football violence. I thought, that's mad. I don't even like football, but I get to have like some kind of an engagement with these other team, and it's kind of like being like warriors or something, you know? It kind of made this primal tribal thing came out of me. I see that other team coming, I wanted to kick the shit out of them, and I didn't know why, but it was like everyone else was doing it, and I thought it was kind of cool. So I got into this thing, and it gave me a sense of identity. Suddenly that low self-esteem, like not feeling I had anything to offer in life, it changed, and I felt like I was somebody. People didn't mess with me. That was what I started to notice. And actually, I could make money if I wanted to go and collect something for someone. They couldn't collect it, they didn't have the kind of clout. They said, look, you do it. So they paid me to go and get some money for them or whatever it was. And I thought, this is pretty cool, man. I get paid to do what I'm good at. That's like entrepreneurship, right? And I didn't even know what that was at the time. I just thought, well, it works and we're going to do it. Well, fast forward to 2005. I'd done this for quite some time. One thing I also liked, I was a bit of a ladies' man. I kind of liked that. I wasn't very good at it, didn't really keep any girlfriends. But so there I was, everything was going wrong, relationship breakdowns all over the place. I was completely addicted to drugs and alcohol, and I had a lot of people looking for me. I had a baseball bat by my bed when I slept, had a machete by the front door to protect myself, and yeah, I was kind of waiting. I had a thought in my head constantly that I wasn't going to make it to 25, and I was really sort of terrified, I just thought this is going to end badly. So I had an offer, someone told me basically, get out of the country because people are coming for you, you should leave. So I thought, where's the furthest place away from here? And Australia was pretty far on the map. So what I did is I got a one-way ticket, flew to Australia. And I thought, I had this crazy idea, I was like, what if I can pretend to be someone else? No one knows me, I can just be whoever I want. It's like you can reinvent yourself. So I did, I just became this cool kind of like backpacker guy and just hanging out with the dudes and typically those people were smoking weed and that kind of got me back into the drugs. So fast forward a couple of weeks, the dream was over. Bondi Beach was gone. I was living in the red light district in Sydney, in King's Cross, and it was going downhill fast. Back on the drugs, back on the drink, clubbing it every single day, partying up, telling people that I had it all together, and it was spiraling out of control. Now, I'm going to give you it straight because you know what, people like to polish things up, and so you probably have never heard someone talking at a business event talking like this because they want to tell you all the good stuff. They do everything great, come on, be like me. Well, I didn't, and I don't, and I want to be real with you and honest with you. So at this point, I was suicidal, and I thought the best way to kind of deal with this situation is out, because I was a runner. I don't know if anybody here is honest enough to say that, and I'm not asking for anyone to put their hand up, but I think there's a lot of runners in life. There's a lot of people who run from situations rather than face them. And although I'm a tough guy and all this, I was scared. I'd screwed up big time. I thought, I don't know how to deal with the situation, so I was out. I wanted out. And the only way I knew out was, because I'd gone across the other side of the world for crying out loud, so it wasn't really how far can I run. I thought, I'm just going to have to end it. And I'll do everyone a favour. My mother won't lose any more sleep over me, because I won't be here to cause her any more harm and suffering. And I won't have to face the shit I've created. So that was my master plan. It was pretty good. And so being on a 3-day bender, I was wasted. I was like staggering down the road. It was 8 in the morning. I thought, smart idea. If there was a bus coming, because there's tour buses go around the red light district, kind of to show people the red light district, how cool is that? I thought, what if I jump in front of it? Because that will finish me off. That will definitely do the job. So that was my plan. And so I'm stood there, and I'm ready to jump in front of this bus. And I kid you not, this is what happened. I don't know what you believe, and so I'm going to ask you, who here is spiritual in any way? Have like a sense there's more going on than me? A few people, a few of you don't want to admit it, but that's where I was at, and I was like, I had this thing. So I was there, about to where's the bus, whatever, boom. It felt like God spoke to me, and here's exactly what happened. I ain't telling you this to this is not hocus pocus stuff, this happened. And I felt it like more real than I'd ever felt it before, and I just felt it like saying, hey, I'd always believed that there must be more than this. I thought this stuff doesn't just come out of a big explosion, there must be more to this than the eye can see. And I thought, I just thought, I don't know who God is, I don't know what it's about. But I felt in that moment, God was talking to me and he said, basically like this, hey, you screwed up big time, you can't do this. If you want me to help you, here's your opportunity, but you can go if you'd like. And it was like, I just stood like literally stepped back from the curtain and went, oh shit, I've taken some real mad stuff today. I don't know what was going on, but something in me said, you know what if this is true? What if this is a second chance? I didn't know what to do, but I just stepped away and I thought, I'm not going to do this. And I can tell you what happened instantly then. The addiction left me like that. I felt it almost float off me. Sounds a bit weird, but that's what happened. It's been like nearly 10 years, haven't touched drugs since. Never went to rehab. All the experts told me that's not possible. It happened like that. Didn't drink for 4 years straight from that day. Now I have a little drink, but I don't need to drink to kind of feel right. It's just if I want to, it's social for me. And I can take it or leave it for months. And that's kind of what happened. But here's the thing. In that moment, I realised, I'm here, and there's a next, there's more to my life, there's purpose. But then I had to go, oh crap, now I've got to face reality. I've got nothing, no education, I've got no credentials, most people hate me, what the heck am I going to do? So really quickly I thought, well, what do I know? I know drugs, I know addiction. So I went and volunteered at rehab. And something I realised very quickly, I was pretty good at connecting with people and I cared about people. Because I felt like I'd been given a second chance. So I did that and I was good at it and I got good results. This was a clinic, right, where they don't give you methadone or anything else to get you off something that's pretty much the same thing. They use tough love. So basically all these guys was ex-debt collectors, 6'10", they wouldn't want to mess with them. They just basically just care for people, but they wouldn't let them harm themselves, if that makes sense. They would really, you're gonna face this and deal with it, stop running, fight this. And so that's what I learned to do, and I learned to kind of use this way of communication that was really tough love, and it worked. So I came back to the UK, and you imagine this, come back to the UK now, Australia's better at doing this sort of thing. They should welcome me in. In the UK, everyone's like, oh, you need all these qualifications and credentials. So I got blocked everywhere I went. And then I had an opportunity. Someone gave me an opportunity, said you can volunteer, did it. Then they said, you're good at this, let's pay you to do this. Fast forward a couple of years later, I was running my own programs doing it, intervention programs. And then people was calling me up and saying, can you speak at this conference to a bunch of social workers? And I'll be like, yeah, okay, why? And they say, because they work with these types of people you're working with, and they're not getting half the results you're getting, like not even half. And I was like, okay. So I'd speak, and they'd be like really loving it and saying, man, that was awesome. And then what would happen is the management would come up to me and whisper in my ear and say, I don't need like rehab, obviously, but I could do with like some coaching from you. And I was like, what's that? I was like, what, football coaching or something? I don't know, what do you want? And they'd say, no, I just want you to mentor me, like help me. How do you communicate with that power and like that strength in you? How do you like captivate people? How do you do that? And I was like, do what? I'm just talking energetically. Like this is me. I'm not, maybe I'm ADHD, I don't know. But I don't sit still and I move around a lot and talk fast. And so I'd end up coaching people and helping them with their own like issues and lack of confidence and whatever it was they were dealing with. And I was pretty good at that. And they would pay me and I thought, this is crazy. You're gonna pay me £60 an hour or something to do this. And I was like, that's amazing. Then it went from there, and I ended up working with like the senior director of global clinical research for Pfizer in the US, then the head talent acquisition from HSBC, New York. And they would recommend me to their friends and to their colleagues, and then a politician would call me up. And it's just gone like that for the last 4 or 5 years. And now we've got a company, we reach probably close to 1 million people around the world, online. Like I said, I rarely talk like this in public, but it's been something I've done recently because I just feel like I'm not connecting with people in person. I'm connecting with them online, but I want to sense people, I want to feel people more. And it's been a pretty crazy journey. But here's the deal. It's been about having to like deconstruct what was it that I've done the whole way to build these contacts, meet these people and have this impact. Because I've tried to study a few things. I did a degree in intervention, but by the second year my tutors were asking me if I could coach their children because they couldn't figure them out. They weren't getting any results. So they were paying me to coach their children in the second year when they had the MBA and the PhD. Now I couldn't figure this out. Like, huh? And it turns out that actually knowledge without application is just knowledge. It's not power. Okay? And so that's where I've been to date. But here's what I want to do with you guys now. Before I go into some content, and you've heard my story, I want you to go away, I want you to think about and talk with amongst yourselves in pairs for a few minutes. I want you to talk about who are the most influential people from your perspective in the world. And I want you to ask each other, what are their attributes? What is it that makes them influential? Okay, everyone understand what I'm saying here? And I've got 2 mandates for you throughout this whole talk. I need you to do this for me, okay? Is that cool? 2 things. Firstly, be engaged. What I mean is, when I ask you, hey, do you agree with this? Do you understand what I'm saying? And I say, like this, yes. Like engage, if you get it, say yes. Can you do that for me? Yes. Wow, it worked, damn it, that's awesome. Let's try that again. Second thing, I want you to wait if you have questions. We're not in school now, okay? But I don't want people like shouting out and trying to bulldoze me. If you bulldoze me, I'll bulldoze you back. Okay, fair? All I want is you to write down the question if you've got it, ask afterwards, we'll have a Q&A. That would be awesome because it keeps me in my flow and it's about respect and honour. I respect and honour you, and I'd like the same. Is that cool? Yes? Yes. Awesome. So go now, a couple minutes together, talk about what are the attributes of the most influential people in the world. Identify who you think is influential. What are their 4 attributes? Go. Cool, okay. So here's what I want, guys. Just a couple people, be really concise, but tell me, okay, who is it that you've identified and what was it about them, the attributes that you've identified for influence? Come on, guys, let's do this. Yeah.
So Richard Branson.
Richard Branson, okay.
The main reason is just that he's a guy who started from nothing and built up an enterprise.
Yeah.
And he's very influential in every area that you can kind of talk about, really.
Great, cool.
And we spoke about the difference between Steve Jobs and Gandhi in terms of the sort of power they had and how they used it in a different
So
way.
Steve Jobs and Gandhi.
Separately,
Yeah,
but
separately.
how...
That's Steve Jobs Gandhi, that's awesome. I love that guy. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
What about them though?
That Steve Jobs had a very strong vision, but he also had a problem because some people didn't like working with him because he was very, very opinionated. While Gandhi had some very special thing that he could make people do things without being aggressive. It's very subtle, and I think that is a really great advantage to have.
Yeah, absolutely. This thing is working. Awesome. So yeah, I would like to make a distinction there because there's persuasion. You can put it like this too: a carrot and a stick. You do as you're told, you get a carrot, a reward. You don't do as you're told, you get a stick. Fired, you're out. Cut your pay, whatever. And you know, at the end of the day, we're not donkeys. So no one should treat other people like that, and we shouldn't be treated like that. Correct? Yeah? But you know, again, Steve Jobs, I love what he did. I love his vision. No one's perfect. He had a few challenges with how he wanted to communicate those things. But Gandhi, awesome man. Love the example because at the end of the day, he created followers. Apple has done that in a very great way as a global company. But him as an individual struggled sometimes with how he did that. A couple more examples, real quick.
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela.
His understanding of people, I think.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. One more.
Tim Ferriss and
Tim Ferriss, yeah.
how he challenges the status quo of how you should live your life.
Yeah, I love that guy. Just injecting stuff and doing crazy things. Can't remember that as well. But yeah, no, I like that. Tim Ferriss. Yeah. So he what he does is he just goes against the status quo completely. And he does it in a way that people go... Here's the thing, is Tim Ferriss, who doesn't know who Tim Ferriss is? Okay, maybe you should Google Tim Ferriss. He's quite interesting, wrote the book that pissed a lot of people off called The 4-Hour Work Week. And he actually says himself, obviously he's not real, but I thought it'd be a good title. You know what I mean? He's like, he actually admits it. But the funny thing with him is he's kind of Marmite, isn't he? You either love him or you just don't like him at all and you wish he'd died. And that's kind of like, here's the thing, influence can be like this. Not in the sense where you purposely wind people up or upset people. It's in the way that actually, if you try to please everyone, you please no one. And I learned that very fast. I didn't get it. I tried to be everyone's friend and likable and all this sort of stuff. And I tried to, tell them a different story about me. I didn't tell them what really happened in my life. And they thought I was all right. That sucks. If you're just okay, well, you're going to fade into obscurity. As soon as I started telling them who I really was, where I'd really been, some people said, well, you don't deserve to be where you are then. And other people went, congratulations, man, good on you. Good on you. So that's a whole different perspective. Let me get into now and just give you my version of influence and deconstruct how I did it, okay? Is that cool with everyone? Yes? Yeah. Cool. I'm going to draw a really artistic triangle, so please don't mock me, because I'm left-handed as well, okay? Probably won't go back. See? Too much pressure. Okay, so here's the thing. First one for me, here's how I figured it out straight away, and you're going to see what we're doing with this. First thing is trusted authority, okay? So when you have someone who's highly influential, they're a trusted authority. Here's the first thing I want you to get from this first point. They're an expert. okay? And as entrepreneurs, who has this kind of ADD thing where they struggle to get focused on the one thing? Honesty now, everyone's hands should be up. Most people who don't, I mean, well, I don't believe they don't. I think everyone has it to a degree as an entrepreneur. Some people just deal with it better, okay? And some people have a lot of team members to do the other stuff for them, as we were talking about earlier, which is another thing. You know, Richard Branson's got a lot of companies. I think it's 300 to be precise, but he doesn't run them all. He's not there doing every little thing for them, is he? He's the chairman, he goes off and like flies a balloon somewhere, and other people do it. And that's awesome, man. But it's learning that, you know, at the end of the day, if we're starting out, if you're a startup or you're an established entrepreneur, but you're not where you want to be, like people still don't really know about your brand or how awesome it is, then here's the thing, stop playing at it and become an expert. That's my gift to you today, really, seriously. That when I stopped playing and I started becoming the expert, like I dug deep. I read more books than anyone else, I listened to more audios, I asked more questions, I actually just, every day I felt like I knew nothing, and I actually just really wanted to learn. Man, I started to learn. When I asked feedback of my clients, as an expert, ask more feedback of your clients. Don't just assume that they love everything you do, ask them what can be improved. Ask them what would they really like. It's funny, they'll actually tell you. Someone asked me, they said, how do you do that? I was like, what? I just said, ask them. What could I do better? I know it's really kind of quite challenging, right? But seriously, when you just ask these simple questions, people will answer them because they want to help you. And obviously, if you're going to make what they, you know, the service you give them, the offering, better, they will love you for it. But an expert is someone who does dig deep. Seriously, most people in business are playing at it. And they can't figure out why they can't get the growth. Look, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, people like that, obsessive. Okay? To everybody else who is not focused. Do you get that? Everyone else says they're obsessive because they're not focused. But to them, actually, maybe they are the real deal when they're just saying, no, I'm going to nail this. You know? As far as I know, you know, people like Zuckerberg, they didn't just start out of nowhere. When did he start doing that? Like 2003, 2002, something like that? It didn't just blow up, you know. It took such time and energy. And he had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations, but he did it. So that's the first thing I really want you guys to get. Become an expert. Here's another thing. And you might have noticed, see, when I was trying to be the polished guy, when I was looking at your Tony Robbins and all these guys, who I like, I do, you know, got nothing against these people, I was trying to be someone I wasn't. I was trying to be them. I was trying to model myself on them. And I'm not them at all, okay? I'm a little bit shorter than Tony. I haven't got such a deep voice, and I'm glad, because people can understand what I'm saying most of the time. And do you know what I mean? I'm not American, I'm English, so I've got to be myself. I don't have this story that he has. I have a very different story. And I was ashamed of my story until I realised that when I told my story, it gave me a certain credibility that no one else in the world has, because it's my story. So I want you guys to become vulnerable. You trust me, you're not going to hear many other people talking like this, because what do you see usually in business? Polished, right? Does everyone agree? You see this, yeah, I've got everything together, yeah, look at my amazing business, yeah, we're great. I don't, I just tell the truth. You know, and like sometimes I lose people for that reason. But guess what? The people that I get, they're diehard, they're committed to my vision. My clients, we have such a great relationship because they chose me because they saw something in me they couldn't see in anyone else. It's not as if there's not enough people out there doing what I do or doing something similar. There's so many people. It's a sea of them. But what I had was I had this unique story. I wasn't trying to bullshit them and tell them I was perfect. I said, here's my faults laid out. You can't point them out for me because I just told you. And here's what I can do. And here's what I do exceptionally well. Here's my best. I'm not afraid to challenge you because I'm not afraid of you. You know, when you're working with someone who's super powerful, you get this kind of fear where you're like, oh shit. Like if I, you know, say this to them, they're going to smash me for saying it. They're going to really, you know, they don't want to hear it. But I'll tell them the feedback they need to hear because I care. And that's my role. Quick story to illustrate this. Having this vulnerability, I'm going to tell you this because this is me being vulnerable now, is so there was a person that I connected with on LinkedIn, okay? Now, I didn't know at the time, but he's, yeah, in terms of all his companies and the revenue, he's a billionaire, okay? I didn't know this at all, but, you know, I managed to connect with him because obviously we had some mutual connections and what have you, and my thing is I always reach out and say, how can I help you, okay? How can I help you, that's it. I don't assume I can, but if there's something you think I might be able to do, how can I help? He came back, he said, yeah, let's talk. So I was like, wow, awesome. I knew he was pretty special, but I didn't know how like top level he was. So anyways, we get on the phone and I did something I'd done with tons of other people and it seemed to work well. It didn't work this time. I just said, look, I know what you do and I kind of have an understanding of what you do, but why don't you tell me from your perspective what you do? He blasted me in seconds and went, you're wasting my bleeping time. You know how much money I make per minute? You know, you're wasting my time. You're an absolute amateur. I'm going to discredit your whole career. I've ruined people's career, and you're having it. And he basically hung up on me. I was like, shit. I was absolutely stunned. I couldn't move for a few seconds. I was like, what just happened here? I don't know what's going on. And he was writing next to me, your Rolodex idea of trying to get my clients and my contacts is done. I'm already going to tweet about you. He's got 200,000 Twitter following. I was like, shit. And so what I did is I calmed myself, and here's something I want you to get, guys. Influence is about leadership. If you are an individual here and you want to be influential, if you don't want to be a leader or you don't consider yourself a leader, wake up now. You will never have influence if you're not prepared to lead others. Period. Okay? I'm not messing around here. You have to become a leader. So in that moment I thought, what am I going to do? And something inside me said, you're a leader, Luke, figure it out. What would a leader do? And I just felt this thing of, be vulnerable. I'm so sorry, I typed on Skype, I messed up. What I meant to say was, I don't presume to know what you do, like from your perspective. Why don't you tell me? He came back, okay. And I said, look, you know what, maybe I have wasted your time. I know it was only 30 seconds, but I'd like to have more of your time. I believe I can add value to you somehow. If you give me a second chance, I'd love to talk. He said, well done, you have passed my test. He said, I get asked by people every day, all day, can I do this, can I have this, can I have that? And he said that the humility that you showed and the vulnerability and the honesty and the willingness to be humble is what I'm looking for in people. Let's talk. We talked for an hour and a half the next day, and it was amazing. The opportunities that opened up, the contacts was phenomenal. But here's the thing, as somebody who is a trusted authority, you've got to have that level of trust. So I built trust there and then because he saw I had no other agenda. I said, look, I'm not going to pitch you anything. I'm not going to try and sell you my service. I'm literally there to listen and learn if I can. Maybe you'll teach me something. He was so open to it, it was unreal. So that's the first thing. First thing is trusted authority, guys, okay? And here's the thing. If you're not prepared to do whatever it takes to become that trusted by your clients and customers, you will not last long. Apple, it's no coincidence that Apple can charge 3 times as much, maybe 4 times as much, than every other competitor out there. And they're not interested in having the whole market share. They don't need to. They just do it in a way that's so good, and because people trust them. Is that right? When you're Apple, you don't go back very often, right? I've never gone back to anything else. I love the stuff, even though it doesn't do as much. I know that. People tell me all the time, my brother's a computer scientist. He's like, it's this shit, what are you doing? I'm like, it doesn't crash all the time like your PC. Not all the time. And do you know what I mean? You get the whole Apple and PC, whatever. But that's the thing, guys. So I want to really challenge you that. Go away and think about that. How much do people trust me? How can I be trusted? Do I go above and beyond and be in that authority? Am I an expert, or am I just playing at this? Okay? Do you want to be one of the best in the world at what you do? And I'm not, because we can always go, yeah. But seriously, that's my aim. Not to be the best, I want to be the best that I can be at what I do. Okay? Second thing, guys. Oh, there's a pen, man. It's my pocket. Second thing is dynamic communication. Okay, so DC, dynamic communication. And here's the thing, you might have realised that, look, I'm kind of high energy, kind of passionate, I move around a lot, my arms are like going nuts and stuff like this. But the thing is, to be engaging, you've got to have energy, you've got to have emotion. And I know that there's there's different personality types and different people. What you don't know about me though, is I'm actually quite an introvert. Who would have guessed it? I'm really not, this is not my comfort zone. I'm not the natural guy on stage. I've made a decision. People tell you that you are a personality type, right? Anyone ever kind of done a test and said, oh, this is who I am, this is who I am? No. That's your default and that's who you're choosing to be. There's a brain scientist called Daniel Amen. Check him out, scanned over 80,000 brains. He's a genius. He's like, no. When you do neuroplasticity, which is basically how you kind of create new neural pathways. It's quite technical, I'm kind of losing myself here. But basically you train yourself to think and be a different way. You actually change your brain chemistry and your psychology changes. You become different. It's not that you're going to be a totally different person. It's habits, right? They've actually proven it. He's proven it. He can look at your brain and go, you drink too much Coca-Cola. Because there's dots on there. There you go, man. Is that Pepsi? You're all right. It's good. You didn't say Pepsi. No, do you know what I'm saying? It's seriously, man, you can change the person you are. And so you can be the shy person, you can be, I'm not that guy, I'm kind of like into, and I'm not stereotyping here, I've got to be very careful. If, maybe there is a stereotype about being tech and not being so good socially, I don't know. Might have heard that. Here's the thing, you can be whoever you want to be. We live in a very different world now. We've disproven most of these things in psychology. You've got to make a decision. Who do I want to be in this situation? Who's going to be able to get the most out of people in this situation? And will this, will kind of, refusing to kind of change my stance and being too solid in what you believe and think, will that actually make a difference in this situation or not? If you need to engage people, then you've got to get engaging. Does everyone agree with me on this?
Yeah.
You've got to. The funny thing is, Steve Jobs, when he did presentations, people were captivated. But he wasn't necessarily that person. He made a decision. He said, I'm going to do it in a way that's going to hold people's attention like that. And they're not going to want to look away from it. They're going to want to know exactly what I'm doing all of the time. So that's the first thing. You've got to be really highly engaged. I'm going to just check my notes here for a second, guys. Bear with me. Okay. I think the next thing is, look, see this really technical drawing I've done here? It's very simple. Look, I've only got 4 points. There's going to be a point in the middle, there's going to be a point there. I mean, it seems basic, but here's the thing. When you look at the best things in the world, are they complicated or are they quite simple? Can't hear you. Simple. So the next thing I want you to do is slow it down, be concise and simple, that's it. Here's the thing I do. I have a 5-year-old daughter, okay? The actual saying, I think Einstein said it, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, it's too what? Complicated. So I go through to my daughter, true story, I'm like, babe, what do you reckon of this? I'm going to do this tonight. She's like, it's called that? I'm like, yes, she got it. And I do, I'm not joking to you, because seriously, you look at some of the best communicators in the world, they're pretty concise and they're pretty simple. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. When you see lots of data, who goes, oh, I'm falling asleep, man? Anyone here? Well, seriously, when you see pie charts and tons of things going off and like loads of bullet points on the screen, are you like starting to go, I don't know what he's saying, I can't remember this? Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. So why not keep it very simple? Get it a few points. If you can just boil down what your thing does. I'm telling you, here's something for you guys. Here's a big challenge in your communication, websites. So we reach a lot of people. How did I get people here today? I wrote all the copy myself. Don't use copywriters. I figured it out. Become an expert. If you're going to talk about what you know, become an expert at explaining it. You've got seconds to get people. When they land on your website, who's got a website here? When they land, if they don't understand what your thing is, they're gone. Anyone heard of Eben Pagan? Yeah, online marketing guy. Got a bit of bad rep sometimes, but built a pretty impressive company. Here's the deal. He went through this thing once. He said, I'm going to do 90 minutes of training for people to help them out to add value. So what he did, he said, give me 27 websites from people all around the world. He's got like email list, millions of people on them. And so these 27 websites were picked. He went through them randomly and destroyed all of them. He's like, this is bullshit, don't want to know what it is. Got a picture of a cat, I don't know, could be a pet thing, I don't know, bang, he's off. And he went through every single one of them. I've got a picture of a guy in a suit, maybe it's consulting, boring, I'm off. Wow. I was like this, blown away. I looked at my website and went, oh shit. No one knows what I'm doing. And like, so you've got to make it pretty clear and concise. See, earlier, I'm going to tell you a quick story. So Marcus here was like, yeah, we were just talking about like, oh man, people aren't networking, they're meant to network. I was like, let's just tell them to network. When you tell people concisely what to do, people will do it. You sometimes have to explicitly tell people what it is you do, why they should do it, how it works, now you should buy. It's sometimes that simple. But sometimes we make it so overcomplicated, 1,000 paragraphs, and then they're like, oh, I've given up, I still don't get it, I'm off. Yeah, and I saw a website today, it was nice, it was a great website, but it was talking like very philosophical about the yen, and it looks like, well, I'm off. I don't know what the heck this is. Is it, some sort of meditation thing? I don't know. I think it was a business funding thing, but it was just talking about something else. It didn't make any sense. So get really clear and concise. And here's the thing, engaging, if you read your own stuff and you're bullshitless, it's not engaging. Be honest with yourself. Be real. That's what I've learned, just to look at my stuff and go, that's rubbish. Another thing I do is I've got numerous coaches and mentors, people who are doing it on the most amazing level, and I'm like, what do you think about this? And they're like, it's rubbish. I don't know why I would buy it. Why would I buy it? I'm like, oh, that's good. Honestly, that's good. They're like, what? Then they say, just literally, tell me what it is. Tell me why I should have it. Boom. If it's got that thing, if it's got the benefit and the real power behind it and the value, they'll buy it. If it's them. And the thing is, we're not looking for everyone, are we? Apple, they're not looking for everyone, are they? No. They've got a unique set of people. Microsoft can have the rest, or whatever, or Dell and whoever else does that stuff. We're looking for people who understand our message and think, that's me. He's speaking or she's speaking to me. Okay? So be really concise and clear. And another thing you might get from it, be passionate. If you're not passionate about your product, I mean, seriously, I don't think I need to go anymore, do I? Do I? Anyone like go, why? Why do I need to be passionate? Seriously, you've got to love what you do. You've got to be passionate. I love what I do. Does anyone get that I'm passionate about what I do? Yeah? Anybody ever think, this guy's passionate? I can't fake it, don't know how to do it, I'm terrible. I love what I do. I love helping people. I love adding value. I love being able to communicate with people. When I did something I didn't love, it just showed. I was like asleep. So that's a big challenge for you guys. Look at your website. Who's got a website here? And be honest with me right now that you think, I'm a little bit worried about what you just said. It might not communicate as much as I think it should. Be honest. Anyone else want to be honest? Just say. Go back to it. Ask a few more people. Does this really say what I do? And does it really compel you? And you'll be surprised. If you really want honest feedback, people will give you it. But give them permission first. Okay? Cool? Okay. Here's a really powerful one. Servant leadership. Now, when I work with leaders, typically leadership is not something that you associate with being a servant. Does anyone agree with me? You think, I don't really get that, serving? Like, what do you mean? Like, going and being a maid or whatever? No. Servant leadership, really, it's an integral thing about saying, hey, it's about value. Service, okay? Again, going back to value, if you're going to really be someone who can lead others and have influence, you need to first serve others. I mean, something that's happening right now, I told you about the whole, talking to Tom Ziegler. There's a thing I did, I was talking to Marcus about it actually earlier. There's been opportunities that I've had, and some of you guys might already be doing this, I don't know, I have no idea what many of you do, but like to get my message out there, often I've connected with some people who are just at an amazing level. Anyone ever heard of Entrepreneur on Fire? That show? Managed to get on Entrepreneur on Fire and get interviewed, get Premier Radio, tons of things like that, in front of millions. Did a partnership with a guy who has a fan page of 1 million. So what I do is I don't have the audience myself, I leverage other people's audiences. And I create partnerships. And I say, why invent the wheel? Why spend the next 5 years that it took that guy to build up that huge list and connections? Why not go straight to the person who's got it, create an opportunity, add massive value, and they all reciprocate? And do you know what's funny? That's happened every single time. I've gone, I've added value. How can I help you? Here's some stuff. It's helped this person by doing this, this, and this. I think your audience might like it. Maybe we should try it out. Okay, cool. And instantly they do it. They say, wow, that's awesome. How can I help you, Luke? I'm like, there's a few things you can do. So I did the same thing with John Lee Dumas, who runs Entrepreneur on Fire. Entrepreneur on Fire was the #1 or best podcast in 2013 on iTunes. iTunes actually flew him out into the offices and interviewed him, like, how did you do it? He did it in 2 years. They're doing 200,000 a month just on the podcast revenues. He's just interviewing people, that's it. And I managed to get on there. They have 800,000 downloads every single month. So I got on there, seriously, in 24 hours, I had another 6,000 followers on social media. It was like, bam, like that. Here's the thing, when you want to serve, most people do this. I've had emails like this constantly. Hey Luke, I know you've got a big audience. Can you send this stuff out? No. I don't know you. Why should I? I don't know you. You haven't done anything for me. I'd love to help them, but they haven't done anything to serve me in any shape, form. But that's something that's kind of old school business, isn't it? You know that? People kind of, straight away, you're at a networking event, what do? They're like, oh, card. On to the next guy, you're boring, huh? Next guy, next girl. Seriously, you want to really connect with people, add value. I cannot stress this enough, be a servant, serve first. The doors that will open for you will be phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I also believe that in terms of real service, I said it earlier that I actually turn people away by actually becoming really authentic and genuine about who I am, right? That's service. If you're trying to people please and you're not growing the business in the way you want, you're trying to say stuff that sounds polished, you're not serving. And guess what you're not serving for? You're not serving because you're worried and you're afraid of rejection and not being able to grow and people not thinking your business is good. But what you're actually doing is you're actually going to alienate your clientele because they're not going to get it. It's not talking to them. And what you're doing is you're being selfish. So my big challenge to you guys today is, how selfish are you being with your marketing and how you serve people? Are you really putting value out there? In terms of what I do, in terms of how we grew the business, through YouTube and various other things, we put out amazing free content. Today, I ain't getting paid to do this. I just show up. I come 4 hours from where I live to do this, have to stay in hotels, don't get anything from it. And here's the thing though, the value and the response we get is awesome. People love it because they say, wow, you are really doing it. And there is no hidden agenda. There's nothing, I've not got nothing up my sleeves or behind my back. This is it. I'm just here to add value and serve. Because people will reciprocate. They will say, yeah, this was really good. It really challenged my perspective. Yeah, added value. So my question and challenge to you is, how much content are you putting out there that can really show people exactly why your product or service or thing is awesome, and it will help them, and they will go away feeling every time they interact with you like they've learned something that's great for them. That's my question for you. You should really answer that in your own time and think about it. Look at the stuff you're putting out there. And it's scary because you think, well, if I put out all this stuff that could potentially be paid for, then I'll have no value. No, you'll figure out how to become more valuable. Okay, does anyone agree with this? Anyone kind of thinking, yeah, it actually makes sense? Yeah, yeah. And it's true, this is my whole story. So there's the thing right there, servant leadership. But here's the big kahuna for me, okay? The big kahuna, you can't do anything else, you can't have the influence that you wish you could have if you don't get this part right. Vision, visionary. The reason that you've got these people, these Martin Luther King types, these Gandhis, Steve Jobs, Elon Musks, they've got this vision that is huge, haven't they? I mean, when you've got someone who hasn't got vision, do you remember them, yes or no? You just don't, I don't know, I can't remember what you told me. It was kind of alright, yeah, it sounded like that 20 other things I heard about. When it's something like just mind-blowing, it's like, wow, that's awesome. Anyone heard of a guy called Peter Dominus? Anyone heard of Peter? That guy, as soon as I heard about him, this guy basically, he's like, I think 19, I don't know exactly, don't quote me this, 95, something like that. He was like starting to talk about, well, what if we could take people to space? What if we could do like a DIY space thing? What if it wasn't just NASA? What if entrepreneurs could create spacecraft and get to space? Like, what if we could do that? And he's like, what if I don't have any money to do that, but what if I could get other people, like your Richard Bransons and people like that, to donate loads of money? We put a £10 million or $25 million prize up, and we get people to compete, and it'll be like crowdfunding for like space. And it worked. And he did it, and it was just bizarre. But I tell you what, when I heard that, I remembered every single part of it. I was like, that guy, and he's one of my targets for my advisory board. I want him on my board. Like, why wouldn't you? He's awesome, man. He's such a cool guy. Now, he's doing it in such a big way. Like Elon Musk is on his advisory board. I mean, this guy's phenomenal. He actually gave Richard Branson, apparently, this is what I heard from an insider, he gave him the idea for version, is it Intergalactica? Is that right? Did I get that one? Was that like a show? Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, there we go. Go to space in space tourism. He gave him the concept. He's like, yeah, this is really cool. And Branson was like, yeah, that's awesome. So here's my question to you guys. Is your vision bigger than just me? Is it bigger than just me? Is it you? Is it you and your brand and your small business or whatever it is? Or is it we? Is it a vision that's so big, so scary, that people get a hold of it and say, I want to be a part of this. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know why it's going to work, but I've got to be involved. You know, it's things like I heard the founder of YouTube talking about it and how they just kept on, people just kept on coming. And Zappo is the same thing, people just kept on coming. And like saying, can I be a part of this? Anyone heard of Mind Valley? Check it out if you haven't, awesome. This guy, they actually make people do these amazing, almost like an audition to work there, where they go, do an amazing YouTube video, if we love it, you can come work for us. There are thousands and thousands of people going, and I'll be the best, and I'm cool, look, I can handstand and juggle at the same time, and they're like, wow, that's awesome, we need someone like that. But that's the thing, guys, it's a vision that they don't have to do anything, that they can recruit without recruiting. It's got this virility about it. My question is your business, your idea, your concept, whatever you're doing, is it that exciting that it creates a we factor, that others want to be a part of it, not just you? Another thing about when you're working with teams, anyone here got a team of people they're trying to work with? They're trying to, they work for you, employees, whatever. Here's the deal. Most people are telling you've got to motivate them, right? You've got to motivate them, you've got to, cheer them up. Motivation doesn't work, not to begin with. Motivation is what maintains and sustains people. What actually has to start, you have to inspire people. Inspiration, look at Gandhi. Did he run around, jumping around, like doing cash incentives? I don't think so. Did Mother Teresa do that? When she was trying to kind of get all these people to help support her? Well, no. All the money they had went into what they were doing. When you have something that is inspirational and inspiring, you don't have to cheer people up or do anything crazy or do any carrot and stick stuff. You just have to be inspirational and tell them the vision and they will come. and they'll do what they can. They'll work for free until you raise the capital to make that thing happen. Would anyone like to do that? Would anyone think that's important or cool? Yeah? Yeah? Cool. Awesome. Another thing, guys. Last thing on this point. I would say to some of you right now, some of you are playing too small. Some of you are playing too small. You know that there's something bigger inside of you, and you're bullshitting yourself, telling you that that's okay and that's acceptable and that's the responsible and respectable thing to do. See, it doesn't really align with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship's not about safe. It's not about, something that's comfortable. It's not about something that's doable. It's about something that scares the shit out of you. So it's something that really gets you fired up. I lie awake kind of nervous at night sometimes, but in a good way. Because I know what I'm doing is going to change the world, and it is changing the world, and it's going to continue to change the world. But I know that I've got to keep raising the bar, because if I don't, I know that I'll be settling, and I know that I'm going to get to the end of my life and tell myself that I was a coward and I was just trying to be safe. And I can't deal with safe. Nothing in my life has ever been safe, But I think as well, we fear that failure thing, but actually I don't believe if we don't stop that we ever fail. Hear that? I don't believe if you never stop that you ever fail. You just find another way to get closer to where you want to go. It doesn't work this way? Cool, I'll find another way. Cool, it doesn't work this way? I'll find another way. And we keep going until we make it happen. Okay? Now, I really want to just leave you with this last point, and then I want to hand it over to you so that you can do something, and then I'm going to do something a bit unusual. But I want to kind of back up what I say and, speak, proof is in the pudding, as I say. So, what I want you to do, guys, I really want you guys now to think about what are, at least one, but up to 3 things, major shifts that you can make in your business, your startup or venture, starting from right now, where you stop trying to, play it safe or try and, convince yourself that you've got it all together and actually look at it and say, where is my marketing failing? Where is it not adding value? Where is it not clear and concise? Where does it not inspire people? Where does it not, really serve? And really be honest with yourself. Be brutally honest. Be vulnerable. Well, how does my message try and be too polished? How can I make it more real and more genuine? How can I really connect to people? Okay? So just spend a few minutes yourself writing down a few of those ideas, and then afterwards, if we've got enough time, maybe share a few, but then we'll do some Q&A, and then we'll round up. Is that cool? Yeah. Yes? Cool. So, guys, I hope you've written down some real, genuine, honest, gut-wrenching things you need to take care of. Because, at the end of the day, look, I don't know how many other people who come and speak to you like this, but most people will just be content to let you get on with it. And I'm not, because, I don't know, I've had a second chance in life, It sounds a bit dramatic and all that, but it's true. And, there's plenty of my other friends who did, people who are doing lifetime sentences, people who committed suicide, people who died of drug overdoses. I know types of people like this. And it's devastating. So for me, it really does mean a lot to me. It moves me emotionally to think, hey, why can't you just do something with your life that's really meaningful and powerful, yeah? Is that cool? So I want to kind of really inspire you to go do that, because it's important to me. Here's what I want to do though, guys. We're going to do a Q&A now, but something I want to do that's quite unusual, and people always criticise me for it, say, just sell a load of products, man. Just get them to buy your stuff. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. Here's what I want to do. I want to offer you something just generally. There's no strings attached to this. It's open if you're up for it. What I like to do is, if there's someone here or people here who have something serious that they're working on and they think, I need some strategy, I need some guidance on my stuff, I'll be happy to talk to you on the phone for free. Okay? Cool? See some hands. What I want you to do though, listen, my time is valuable to me. I don't mess around. I don't want any time wasters. So don't play with me, because I will be pissed off. If you want some time and you're up for it, I'm willing to commit to it if I can help you. Here's the thing though, other people will know, other people will tell you this. I'll review your stuff. We've got some forms here. If I think I can't help, I'll say, look, I can't help. Honest. I will probably say, if I know someone else who can help, I will refer you to that person. Okay? And I'll say, they're the best person to talk to. I can't do it. I don't know nothing about that subject, or that's not my thing. And that's what I'll do. Is that cool? So if you're genuinely serious and you're not a time waster and you want to do big things and you need to do some big things, you need somebody to go, why are you doing this? Is that really what you should be doing? I'll be the guy to do that, if it's the right thing that I can help you and guide you. Okay, so if that's you and you're interested, put your hand straight up in the air. I'm telling you this honestly now, nothing scarcity about this, just reality. My printer broke. I haven't got enough forms. True story. You know, I'm not Superman. I'm not a printer. But what I do have, I think there's probably 50 there maybe. So whoever is really genuinely serious, put your hand straight up in the air. It's yours. Go on, put your hand. Angel's going to walk around and hand them out. And all I want you to do is fill them out whilst we're doing Q&A and just hand them back to me. That's it. Is everyone cool with that? Yeah. Cool. Okay, cool. Hands straight up in the air though. You need to be able to see them. Keep them up. And if you haven't got one and you want one, say, yeah, me, because otherwise someone else will get it. That's just the reality. Okay. So Q&A, if you've got a question that can genuinely help the group, and you think it's not just about you, but it will kind of, it's a question that's like burning you, you're thinking, how do I have more influence in this area? How would you do it? Ask away. Serious questions. So, anybody got a question? All his hands are right.
That's going to be complicated.
I'm going to go for one at the back first. Yes, ma'am.
You talked about influential people being inspiring.
Yeah.
And you talk about, Gandhi and all these people, Martin Luther King being inspiring.
Yeah.
So it's easy to say inspiring. So how do we translate? What does that really mean? How can we, as business owners or budding business owners or others, do something that's inspiring? What is the definition?
Good man.
Is inspiration?
So let me just kind of feedback. I'm not sure if everyone heard that. So you're asking, okay, so these people who are uber inspiring, Martin Luther King, all these types of people, how do we do that? Well, so something I said earlier, I mean, it might not have kind of clarified it. Get feedback. Ask people, if people aren't excited by it, and you're not excited by it, and your mum's not excited by it, and your grand's not, you know what I mean? It's likely that it's not inspiring. If you can move people, here's the thing, how do I get someone like Tom Ziegler or John Lee Dumas or some of these other people I'm going to be talking to, how do I get them on the phone? Because what I'm saying, it kind of moves and they're like, I don't know man, I don't know you, but there's something interesting about you. The thing you'll find is inspirational, influential people, they haven't got time. They haven't got time for time wasters. So if your thing is not interesting, they won't give you the opportunity on the phone. So a good way of testing it out is to approach people that you'd like to connect with or partner with and see if they kind of respond to what you're saying. The most important thing I can give you though is keep it short and concise. Make some bold claims if you can back them up and keep it really concise, make it benefit rich so they're like, yeah, that's interesting, that's great. Yeah, I always say to people is, hey, here's something, I'm not going to pitch you anything, I just think you might find this really interesting, I promise here's what I'll do, I promise I'll only take 10 minutes of your time. Because it only should take minutes to explain it. And then the rest is a bit of...
So it's good old-fashioned market testing.
Absolutely. A/B testing, man. Test your stuff. And I think just keep on working on it, never stop. Look at every single brand in the world. How many times do they change their logos? If they're an old brand, you look at it, you look at the logos, how they change, they keep changing, they keep on saying, no, we've got to do that again, we've got to do something to it, it's not as good. Okay? Is that cool?
Thank you.
No worries. Someone else got a genuine question? Marcus.
Hi there. I'm not sure how I'm going to make this a question at the moment, but it's kind of it's surrounding the fact that you could have lots of people with vision, and to realise the visions, they need doers, people quite often. So if everyone's got vision, then obviously not a great deal's going to get done.
Yeah.
And relating that to my personal thing, I've heard a lot of what you said and picked up a lot of interesting things. For me, my obstacle, funny enough, with Archie and Doris is being a bit of a... I've created an unusual brand in an otherwise stale environment, and I find it quite easy. People seem to love it and all the rest of it. But to be perfectly honest with you, my problem with growing the business is actually rather bizarrely been finding... ensuring the delivery of the work gets done and properly and blah blah blah. I'm fine with all the touchy-feely stuff. It's actually finding people to do it that you rely upon and trust. It's the doers. So the contrast between the visionaries and the doers is kind of what I'm interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something about leadership. So it's about saying, you know what, I haven't got a choice in this, I have to become a good leader. You're not going to be the best leader, but what is the best leader? It's swings and roundabouts, right? You can't be everyone's meat, you can sometimes give you someone's poison. And you've got to find people that really connect to your, it's something I said earlier, having rapport. Do you connect to those people? Do they get you? Can they translate your vision like that? If they can, they should be able to because it's clear and concise anyways. But if they get it and they feel excited about it, even if it is accountancy, then, do you know what I mean? You've got someone who can do something for you there. And then you've got to create that loyalty. So you look at people, again, mentioned it earlier, Zappos. You listen to Tony, man, that guy's got loyalty. He really cares about his employees. And I said this earlier to Marcus, be explicit. Like, actually say exactly what you want people to think about you and do. Like, it sounds so... Because we assume intelligent people, they get it. No, they don't. People make assumptions all day long. Oh, they looked at me the wrong way. I said it, don't they? No, they were looking at something behind you. You know what I mean? It sounds stupid, but I'm doing this with people all day long, communication stuff. Because I just figure it out. Oh, you know, I have CEOs, I'm working with people like at the top of the game, like HSBC. The other day, someone from Barclays, and these people are telling me, I don't think my team likes me. I don't want to bring up this subject with them because I think they all think, and they're just like, and it's like, what? Are you serious? You're an intelligent person, and people think this. They worry about what people think about them because they never actually figure out that actually I don't know what they're thinking. I can't read their mind. Maybe they should be more explicit with people who actually say what they're thinking and ask them the right questions. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Seriously, just get really explicit with people. Tell them exactly what you want and need, and I think it's much easier then to get what you want. Does that make sense? What's your from around?
No, thanks.
Cool. Anyone else got some questions that's going to add some value to the rest of it? Yeah.
I think a lot of what you said rings true, and I put into practice a lot of these things, you know, just to get where I am now.
Good.
Can you talk a little bit about how you maintain that consistency? Sometimes, you know, you get momentum, you get enthusiasm, you know, you're on fire, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, life happens, things happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
It comes on board, and I've created this monster, right?
Yeah.
And I've got to drive this train, and it's overwhelming, and I don't have time to do the things that got me there in the first place.
Yeah.
That helped me to get to, you know, that place, that attitude that I had in the beginning.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how to maintain that?
Two things. Firstly, say no more. So if anyone didn't get that, say no more. So say no to things that you shouldn't be doing. Just be honest with yourself. No, can't do it. This person can. Delegate. Be really just brutal about it. Delegate. So people ask me all the time, can I interview on my podcast? I don't know your podcast, but to be honest, it's got a pretty small audience at the moment. I'd love to help people. I haven't got time for that right now. I'm sorry. People, oh, you're not a nice guy. Sorry, I can't. You know what I mean? My time is valuable. So say no more. Second thing, get a coach. I don't care who it is, but just do. I mean, seriously, the reason that I have a coach, the reason that Leonardo DiCaprio, one of the best actors in the world, you know, he's been going for a long time. It kind of the proof is in the pudding again. Hugh Jackman, Andre Agassi, every single sports professional in history has multiple coaches. Everybody who's at the top of their game does. Bill Gates did, Steve Jobs did. They had mentors, people that they went to and they said, I'm losing it today. I'm feeling like I'm not able to do this anymore. I've lost my confidence. Has anyone ever had that? I've had that. It's weird, right? You're doing some big things and you start looking down and you think, that's a long way to fall. Someone told me that once. They're like, Luke, they described it just like this. He said, I'm climbing so high, I'm scared I'm going to fall. And I said to them, yeah, but surely you just put one foot in front of the other and you keep climbing like you did before, so what's the difference? And that's what they needed to hear. They're like, wow, it's just a change of perspective very quickly. I think, you know, don't do anything out of the ordinary and you won't fall. Huh? Just keep doing it, consistency. But sometimes the simple, we know what to do. We need somebody in the corner. We're human, right? We're emotional. We get scared. We feel fatigued. We feel like worried. We do the what ifs constantly. And you've got a lot more what ifs, you know. Imagine some of these massive corporates. They're worried about getting sued all day. All day. So I would really say that. Say no more. We could just be brutal about what's not really, what you can't do. Don't try and please anybody. Just be honest. Say, look, I can't do it. Honesty, here's what you should do. And get somebody to hold you accountable. That's my advice.
The last note I wrote down after I took all the notes from you was get a coach.
Yeah, do it. Seriously.
He told me.
Humility. It's the biggest thing that I've learned in my life. Don't be too proud to ask. If you're too proud, you will fail big time. Sooner or later. Go on, man. Couple more, because I'm concerned about time. I don't want to, take too much of your time. Any more? Is that good? We good? Yeah? Tell me, come on, talk to me here. We good? We good? Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, listen. If you've filled out the form, bring it back to me. I'm going to try, because my voice is gone. I'm going to try not to answer too many more questions, because what people do is they don't ask the question here, and then they come and ask me a question anyway. So I'd love to kind of chat a bit, but I'll take the forms, and I just want to say thanks for having me, and please go do something with this.